In past cycles, how are real estate appraisers most impacted during economic downturns or market stagnation?
Well, traditionally, going back to even to the 70s and Jimmy Carter era, they generally benefited because when we have turmoil, the people that hold the capital, whether it's debt or equity, need to understand the impacts of the economics in the market on value. So they tend to order more appraisals. But what we've learned through COVID in the recent years is that probably the banks are going to act differently. The capital sources are going to act differently. They're not going to reconstitute the big workout departments. They learned during COVID with the hotels, it was more efficient to bundle those loans and sell them to private equity without setting up a workout department. And when I was at the Fed, what we studied and learned was that about 1/3 of the cost of a loan loss given a default was really constituting a workout team and department and going through all that. So if you can cut that piece out, you have more to negotiate on selling those loans. So I think the appraisers are going to be bypassed. In your market, maybe private equity or the entities that buy those bundles and then have to figure out what they keep or what they sell. So I don't think it's going to be great for the bank work. And I think it's going to be, we have to look in different places.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I mean, I totally agree with what Casey stated there. I think the last downturn that we had was in 2008. A lot of our members learned a lot during that process and were able to kind of see the foreseeable future. So I think appraisers, what I'm hearing is they're diversifying in terms of what they're doing. As Casey said, the banks may be not lending as much, but there's other areas that they can work in.
Yeah, if you think historically too, I mean, appraisers typically do really well when things are going really good. They're doing well when things are going really bad. And so it's usually that in-between time when things are a little bit uncertain or you're not sure what's going to happen, where we're kind of flatlining a little bit. And I think that's where we're at right now. It'll be interesting to see if what Casey's saying does come to fruition, if they do start just shipping those loans off to like private equity or such. Either way, I will tell you one thing, be a real good appraiser right now. When you go through any kind of recession like this, the first thing that banks do is start cutting down their lists. They want to make sure that the people that are on top of their list are the best appraisers in the industry. So I've always told the people who have worked for me as appraisers that we have to be exceptional during down times, because we want to be a place where the people who really need to understand where value is in a down market, we want to be that person. We want to be that reliable source. We want to have accurate values, and we want to be really good at what we do.
It sounds like, Casey, you see this downturn being different, and maybe Johnny and Rodman see it being a little bit different this time around as well.
I do, and I think piggybacking on what both Rodney and Johnny said, or Rodman and Johnny said, was, as appraisers, we tend to think about the core food group, the office, the industrial, the retail, the apartment, and maybe some subdivision work. But it's really broadened now. And what we're finding is that there's more business value or enterprise value in more property types than just hotel and restaurants. It's in self-storage, it's in, manufactured housing, and it's in adaptive reuse. And we're doing a lot more adaptive reuse. In fact, I do a lot in that space. And I have a database of over 40,000 adaptive reuse projects, which is more than the entire self-storage industry. And so there's a lot of opportunity in property tax appeals, segregating out the business and enterprise values, helping your clients understand why they should pay more than maybe just the real estate value for an asset, because there's also an ongoing business enterprise in that situation. So I think appraisers, the opportunities are look at the for rent subdivisions. That whole market has dried up as private equities pull back on entities like American Homes for Rent. So how is all that going to work out? So I think there's a lot more as you go deeper and peel back the onion into more stink in the property type. So the more you can do that, understand the economics, understand the where and why, and we're going to geographically see some very unique things, like in the Colorado River Basin, the 7 states in the Western drought, they all have to cut their water usage by 1/3 January 1. What does that mean for value? How do you think that through? What does it mean for feasibility, the principal substitution, to add another one? So I think there's just a lot more complexity. Those appraisers that can figure it out, adapt, and also leverage technology to get there will do really well.
Yeah, and I would piggyback on that and say Casey's dead on the reuse. I mean, we're seeing things that we've never seen before. I mean, in terms of how we do retail now. I mean, COVID changed that. How we do office now, COVID changed that. So it's going to be interesting to see a lot of these reuses, how properties that were historically used one way get adapted into another use. It's just a very unique environment, one that I've never seen in my lifetime. A matter of fact, I'd have to probably say a lot of people haven't seen in their lifetime, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with these different property types moving forward. I don't think we've seen the full impact yet.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, you look at office space. I mean, that's because of what happened during the pandemic and individuals not wanting to come back. You know, how do you reuse that space to ensure that you're still getting that income at the same level? It's a different world than we've seen over the last, of my lifetime. I think any of our lifetime here.
And piggybacking on Johnny's comment on office, so the phrase I've been using with a lot of clients that are all trying to figure out what to do with their office is, will remote office do to office what e-commerce did to big box retail? And we've got to really be thinking in the concepts of highest and best use and principle of substitution that we kind of all forgot about, or we don't teach real deep anymore. Those are going to be core principles that people will pay the appraiser to really help them answer those two questions.